Hello guys and welcome back to part 3 of Google Slides quick hack and tips. So in this tutorial now we're going to follow up with the previous part 1 and 2 where we're going to set up some other different things in terms of slide arrangements. So here I have some few slides I've prepared in terms of some eagle image that we have seen in the previous slides. So in this topic for this session we're going to learn about arranging and aligning objects in the slide by using guidelines. What about snapping to grid and snapping to the guidelines mean. We're also going to be using notes, Google Notes up here about going to specific slides and how that works. So that should be interesting. And we're going to be exploring custom substitutions, offline use and status, and how is that important. In this case here, right here, that's the status, and also creating sequential animations. So I'm going to reserve that for the last part. Great. So let's begin. So right here, we're going to see about arranging and aligning objects and slide using your guidelines. Now, if you notice in Google Slides, there are some lines at the left and right here, which is basically like a ruler. If you don't see this, you can actually go to Guides and click Show Guides. Now, if you actually go and click Show Ruler, it will actually disappear. But if you want it back, you can click on Show Ruler, it'll come back. So what I want to do right here right now is I'm going to create a grid line. So I'm going to right click on top here and add a vertical guide. So there we go. That's my first vertical guide, and I want to start it at margin 1. Over here, I'm going to right click and add a horizontal guide, and this one I'm going to put at 1 as well. And here it allows me to actually adjust my bird to make sure the bird photo starts here, right? So that it's aligned with the line. But you see, as I move it along, I'm not really too sure if it's on the line or just touching the line or if it's exactly there. So what I'm going to do is you're going to go to your view settings again, and you have this option called Snap to. So you have option to snap to grid or snap to guides. So in this case, I want it to snap to guides. And now if I were to move it, you'll see that now you have a red highlight area. If I release it a little bit, right, before it goes in, it jumps right in. Over here, if I were to jump right in, it actually aligns with this first image and it actually tells me if it's in that position. So there is a difference, guys. You can experiment and try it out yourself. If you turn off the guide snapping tool, you realize that you have a more free flow movement, right? It's compared to when you turn it on. Now, basically, what it does is you can see there's alignments appearing. It even tell you the distance if it's exactly distributed the same. And then when you release, so these distance here are all the same. Now, a quick tip. Ding ding. Over here, I noticed that this one is an image of the same picture. I can replace this image and search the web. And perhaps I also want an eagle, but maybe a different perspective. Maybe this one. I'm going to click replace and let's see what happens. Now you notice the same size of the picture remains in terms of the outline of the picture. So if I were to double click it, you can see that there's outline for cropping. Now let's try the third picture. I'm going to replace this image again, search the web, and I'm instead going to search a green frog perhaps. Right, let's try this guy over here, and I'm going to replace this image, and it's going to show me a green frog in that same size of the picture's ratio. So that's useful. Now, these guides, however, if you need these guides to be a different color, let's look into it again. You can actually right click here and go to edit guides. You can actually change the guidelines here. Maybe I want the horizontal line to be a bright magenta and the vertical line to be a bright cyan. Now when I click done, you can actually see the guidelines here now change in terms of its color. I can actually add more guides. So for example, I'm going to add another horizontal guide and it's going to appear right here, right under the image. One more here, one more here, and I'm going to adjust this so that it snaps to the images above and below. Oh, we need two more. So let's add one more here and one more here. I can add as many guides as I want or change the color. I can also add another vertical guide and also apply this here. Now, if you notice when I go to the next slide, these guides also will follow to all of the current slides. So you can think of it as a current layout theme where you want your slides to be consistent. So when you go to the next slide, that the images here, for example, are snapping in and they are in the same location. Oh, this didn't snap in. It was about to. There we go. So you can actually just replace the image right now in case you're preparing a different slideshow for whatever reason, right? And you can actually just make sure that when you go from one slide to the next, that it doesn't change much. So let's put a picture of a heron here. There we go. That's a fish. I'm going to replace that. And last but not least, over here, I'm going to replace this image as well and search the web. And let's search for maybe a cat. There you go. That cat looks nasty. Oof. Yeah. So now I have all these photos here. And if I were to do a presentation, just take note that the guidelines will not be visible. So if I go to the next slide, you can see that these two images here are actually going back and forth with my back button and spacebar. Okay, and you can see that they're in the exact same position. So that's usually the case when you don't use eyeballing, and maybe you just adjust this yourself manually. And sometimes you go and present your slideshow. The first slide and the second slide may be in different locations. So that's the use of the guides. I hope this helps and that it can basically help you in terms of designing and aligning your objects or your pictures that you draw in Google Slides. All right. Next topic. Let's take a look at Google Notes. Now, Google Notes are it's available on my right-hand side here. Now, assuming I'm presenting my slides. So right now, I don't want to see the guidelines. Let's just turn that off. Show ruler, guides, show guides. I'm going to just show guides and turn it off at the moment. So right now, we don't are not distracted with the guidelines. I want to basically say that I'm on slide one and I'm talking to my students maybe now on slide two. So I don't want to forget on the next day when I continue my class that I was last on slide two. I can actually click on my right hand side here on Keep, which is Google Notes. And here what I can do is I can actually click on Take a Note. It's going to go on Copy of Slides, which is this name of my slides. And I say I last stopped here in classroom 2. All right, and click done. So once that's done, I last stopped here in classroom 2. Let's say if I were to restart my Google Keep Notes, okay, at any time, let's go here, and then I were to open my Google Keep on a different slideshow, and then I click on here, I last stop in my Google Classroom Notes, and you'll see that down here we have a link of the copy of Google Slides. Now, if I click on this, it will open not only just that slide, but it will also jump to that specific slide, which is slideshow 2, where I was currently teaching, so that I can keep track of where I am. So that's it for Google Notes. It's pretty useful. So you can use that for those kind of functions. You don't want it anymore, you can just click delete and remove it, and there we go. Your Google Keep Notes are done. So just do quick notes there. Okay. Going on next, we talk about custom substitutions. So I'm going to test this out in this slide. So what does it mean by custom substitutions? For example, we tend to type TAH pretty often instead of DHE. Now you can see that my THE here autocorrect even though I put TH. Now this happens because I have added a additional tool in my tool settings under preference, and here under substitutions you can choose to see that the TAH was automatically replaced to THE. Now I can also use this for other things. For example, a shortcut key like CKK1, right? It's very specific, and this CKK1 will see, hey guys, welcome to my classroom 1. So this is the shortcode that I want to put this for. Hey guys, welcome to my classroom 1. I'm going to click OK and let's test it out. So on a new line now, I'm going to put CKK1, enter, and immediately my sentence comes out here immediately. So that's for custom text substitutions. Pretty easy to use. You can use it, and if you don't need it anymore, go back to Tools, under Preference. You can just go to your substitutions, look for what you don't need, and you can delete them. There we go. All right, moving on. Now, in terms of your offline status when you're using Google Slides or even Docs or Google Sheets, you should always check the status up here where there's this cloud icon here. Now, all changes saved to Drive. It said this document is not ready for offline use. Now, in order to make this available for offline use, you must make sure this is the only browser that has opened these slides at the moment. Now, currently, I'm going to resize my Chrome browser. I have 2 slides open. So Google is going to have a conflict of where is the primary one. So all I need to do is close one of these, right? And I'm going to refresh this one right here. And now I'm going to check here and see, All changes saved to right. This document is ready for offline use. Now, what does that specifically mean? It means that if I don't have an internet connection, I can edit the slides to as much as I will, but don't close the browser because the moment you have an internet connection, all of those changes will be saved back online, and then at least your changes are safe. So that is a bit of a downside if you don't have an internet connection. So just be aware of this. So this status right here. All right. All right. Moving on to the last thing, we're talking about sequential animations. And I'm going to do one sequential animation right before the DN slide right here. And I'm going to put a new slide, and it's basically empty at the moment. I'm going to change the layout to this one. And here I'm going to type here, this is a sequential animation. Okay, and the text insert is, you will see a few objects animate together or after the other. Now, the idea here is sometimes when we do animations in Google Slides, we tend to take for granted the objects can only move once. So I'm going to show a quick example here is I'm going to draw a circle. Let's give it some color. Maybe we're going to give it a nice orange color. That's right, it's an orange ball. So this orange color right here, if I were to apply animations on it, it's pretty easy. Right click, choose animate, click animate, and then after here you can see there are some options here in Google Slides. So let's say I were to say fly in from left, and then I'm going to say on click. They have three options, which is after previous and with previous. Now bear with me, we're going to explore these again shortly. And then down here we also have slow, medium, and fast. Now this by paragraph is animation basically based for paragraph. Now we'll explore that later as well. Now let's come back here and focus here. We have flying from left on click. Let's click play. Now the slide will load. If I were to click my mouse button, then the animation will come from flying from left and play. Now we tend to stop here because we don't know if we can create more animations after that. So I'm here to tell you you can. So once you're done with that, for example, I'm going to create maybe, I'd say, I'm going to put in, how about a star? Always like stars. Stars are fun. So I'm going to change this star color to yellow because stars are bright that way. And what's going to happen is I want my ball to fly in from left to right. It's going to hit the star and then it's going to go up while the star spins. So it's going to create that animation effect. Now, while your motion pane is already open, since the last time I opened it, I actually clicked animate on the orange ball, so it remains open. I can just click on the star right now, here, and click animation. And here I can apply my animation. For example, I'm going to choose the last one, which says spin, and I'm going to say after previous. So what this does is I'm going to do a quick play now, and you're going to see what happens. So the animation is the ball is going to fly in, and right after this animation ends, it's going to basically spin the star. So let's try and click on this and see what happens. And there we go. The star spins. So that was right on spot. That's what we wanted. I'm going to click stop. Remember to always test your animations as you go through them. And so right now, the next animation is I'm going to click here. I can either choose add animation here, or I can right click here and choose animate. Now, either way, it's still going to appear in my motion test pane here. And now here, I'm going to choose to fly out to top. There you go. Fly out to top. And instead on click, I'm going to say with previous. So if I click after previous, you're going to see there is a slight difference between with previous. So there we go. I'm going to click, it's going to spin. When that's done, it only leaves because it is after previous. So if I want this to move simultaneously, I'm going to set this setting to with previous. Now with this, it allows me to actually show the animation again, and this time it comes in like that, hits the ball, and it immediately spins outwards. So it shows like there is an effect. After hitting the star, the ball goes on a different trajectory. So coming back here again, like I said, there are a few things I want to play in mind. So there is like, for example, fast movements and slow. So if I were to change this to really fast, I can actually slow down, let's say, to 3 seconds. The spin, however, I can increase it to maybe 0.5 seconds. And let's see if that effect changes now, how it will look like in the slideshow. So there we go. Hits the ball, it spins, but the ball goes out really slowly. So that's how we can change the speed of your animations. So that's it for animations. Let's explore now about text animations. So on my left, as you can see here, the text appears For example, I'm going to add animation, and I want this to have another line. You can now create dynamic animations. Good luck and have fun. Right. Now, with this one, I am going to add an animation for this. And I'm going to say it should, let's say, fly in from bottom. And it's going to go after previous. So that means after this ball flies out, this thing will fly in one by one by paragraph. Now, if this paragraph is not turned on, there'll be a difference. I'm going to show you. So I'm going to click the ball, it spins, it goes out. I'm not doing anything right now with my mouse. And finally, the text paragraphs fly in from bottom one by one as planned. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click stop. If I say not by paragraph, and I want it to fly in like a bit faster, maybe half a second, and this is the difference here. So now I'm going to click, and it's going to begin. It spins, and as the ball flies out, then only the entire paragraph comes in at zero point 0.5 seconds. So that's the difference we have between text animation by paragraph, and if you don't disable that, basically it will slide in everything at once. So I hope you had fun learning all of these topics in part 3 of my quick hacks, tips and tricks of Google Slides. And if you do like my content, do support by clicking that like button, subscribe, and also share. Thank you so much. All right, have a good day. Cheers. Bye.